The Enfield Poltergeist was a claim of supernatural activity at 284 Green Street, a council house in Brimsdown, Enfield, which is in London, if you didn't know. So this happened between 1977 and 1979, and it involved two sisters aged between 11 and 13. So a member of the society called Maurice Grosse and a writer, Guy Lyon Playfair, believed the haunting to be genuine, while others such as Anita Gregory and John Beloff were unconvinced, and they found evidence that the girls had faked the haunting. Members of the Committee of Spectacle Inquiry, including stage magicians such as Milbourne Christopher and Joe Nicol, criticised paranormal investigators for being credulous whilst also identifying features of the case, as basically they're saying it were an hoax. That's what they were saying. So the story attracted press coverage in the British newspapers. It's been mentioned in books, featured in television documentaries, and dramatised in a 2016 horror film. In August 1977, single parent Peggy Hodgson called the police to her rented home in Enfield, claiming she had witnessed furniture moving and that two of her 4 children said that the knocking sounds were heard on the walls. The children included Margaret, who was 13, and Janet, she was 11. A police constable said that she saw a chair wobble and slide, but could not determine the cause of the movement. Later, claims included disembodied voices, loud noises, thrown toys, overturned chairs, and children levitating. Over a period of 18 months, more than 30 people, including the neighbours, psychic researchers and journalists, said they variously saw heavy furniture moving on its own, objects being thrown across the room, and the daughters seeming to levitate several feet. How do you fake that? Let me know in the comments down below. So Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair reported curious whistling and barking noises coming from Janet's general direction, although Playfair maintained the haunting was genuine and wrote in his later book, This House is Haunted, a true story of a poltergeist in 1980, that an entity was to blame for the Enfield disturbances. He often doubted the children's veracity and wondered if they were playing tricks and exaggerating. Still, Grosse and Playfair believed that even though some of the alleged poltergeist activity was faked by the girls, other incidents were genuine. Other paranormal investigators who studied the case included the American demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, who I've spoke about many times on this channel and will be doing a video on about them soon. The Warrens visited the Enfield house in 1978 and were convinced that the event had a supernatural explanation. Janet was detected in trickery. A video camera in the room next door caught her bending spoons and attempting to bend an iron bar. Grosse had observed Janet banging a broom handle on the ceiling and hiding his tape recorder. According to Playfair, one of Janet's voices she called Bill displayed a habit of suddenly changing the topic. This is also a habit Janet also had. When Janet and Margaret admitted pranking to journalists, Grosse and Playfair compelled the girls to retract their confession. They were mocked by other researchers for being easily duped. A woman by the name of Renee Haynes had noted that doubts were raised about the alleged poltergeist voice at the second SPR conference at Cambridge in 1978, where video cassettes from the case were examined. The SPR investigator, Anita Gregory, stated the Enfield case had been overrated, characterising several episodes of the girls' behaviour as suspicious, and speculated that the girls had staged some incidents for benefit of journalists seeking a sensational story. John Beloff, a former president of the SPR, investigated and suggested that Janet was practicing ventriloquism, but Beloff and Gregory came to the conclusion that Janet and Margaret were playing tricks on the investigators.